What's happening, y'all? It's me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington, and I'm here with my review for episode 3 of Loki on Disney+. Now, if you have not seen this episode yet, please come on back because there will be spoilers. I do want to apologize to everyone for what happened with episodes 1 and 2. So again, they released episodes 1 and 2 to the press for screening, people who do reviews, etc., etc. And so we were initially under the belief that those were the episodes that Disney were first going to launch with, and they didn't. So everybody was like, man, you gave out spoilers for episode 2 and it ain't dropped. Like, yo, that ain't on you. It is what it is. This one was dope. This show still puts you in that mind of you don't know what to expect. You don't know where things are going. We knew at the end of the second episode, we found out that the variant was the Lady Loki, which we heard would be coming to the show, right? So in the beginning, you hear Demons playing, it's a song playing, and you see that Lady Loki and Hunter C20, they having drinks, and it's basically Lady Loki trying to manipulate Hunter C20 at that time to find out where the timekeepers are. That is the moment we see that goes back to the episode when they were in the Rocksmart, etc., etc. She goes at Lady Loki. She finally, all the things that happen, of course, the escaping. Excuse me. She finds out what happened. She goes to the TVA, of course. Find out she can't use magic there, but then she can whoop the dog shit out of them. Now, I'm not gonna go bit by bit. I said it all the time. Here's the main things. Her and Loki start fighting, and first of all, she kind of gets stuff on Loki, but Loki's still with her. Loki uses the temp pad, takes him to Lamentis 1. If you don't know what that is Outworld at the edge of Kree space in Marvel lore. Right? The two of them, the two Lokis, are talking, and they're butting heads. You got the Tom Hiddleston Loki trying to find out more about the Lady Loki, and she's just really hesitant and resistant. Well, you find out that the Lady Loki says, I'm not a Loki, call me Sylvie. And then if you follow the comic books and you're like, Sylvie, why does that name ring a bell when it comes to Loki? Well, Sylvie Lushton, the Enchantress. So we're finding out because the words enchantment consistently comes up. Like Loki asked Sylvie at some point, how does your enchantment work? Teach me about enchantment. They talk to each other about magic. You know, at one point when they sneak onto a train on Lamentis to try to escape. You know, basically escape to an arc to repower the temp pad that has run out of power so they can leave. While they're on this train, Loki and Sylvie are talking about their upbringings. Loki talks about how Frigga taught him magic. And Sylvie talks about how she always knew she was adopted and things like that. And, you know, being a Loki. Now, if you don't, again, going back to her history in the comics and Sylvie's history in the comics, she's originally from Oklahoma. And she doesn't know that Loki actually created her. So I don't know if the show will go that way as far as Loki created her at one point and didn't realize it. But something interesting happens during the conversation that Loki and Sylvie have. And it's one point Loki says, Sylvie asks Loki, you know, there may have been somebody special for you, you know, you're a prince, so that may be a princess or another prince, a bit of both. And he says, I suggest the same as you. Again, we play into, you know, I talked about it in the first 2 episodes review, Loki's fluidity, his sexual fluidity. It's always been a thing. Loki's turned into women, animals, etc., etc. So for Loki to be able to fall in love with various people, man, woman, etc., you know, it's a thing. It can happen. Again, it can happen. It happens in Norse mythology as well. We go further back. Loki and Sylvie asks Loki, does he know what love is? Do either one know what love is? And Loki, after getting drunk as shit and having an Asgardian sing-along on the train, like a full sing-along, he basically says, love is a dagger. It's a weapon to be wielded far away or up close. And goes further. And I'm like, it's kind of deep. Like, why is it these shows now are all he does with these deep philosophical messages? You know, remember in WandaVision, what is love if not grief persevering? hit everybody in the fields. It was a bunch of shit that got preached in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You know what I'm saying? So, excuse me. You find out. Loki gets drunk and somebody discovers that he's not one of the guards that snuck on, et cetera, et cetera. They both get thrown off the train. Well, Loki gets thrown off and Sylvie follows suit. Basically, she gets pissed. She screams. They are arguing, and again, they're talking about how bad and the different things they've done. And Loki says he's extremely hedonistic, and she says, "I'm more hedonistic than you." So again, this pleasure and just fun and free spirit of what Loki is. But again, we're talking about the Enchantress, so it's weird. But here's the crazy part about all this. They get kicked off the train. They make it to the launch pad for this arc to get off of this moon that's about to blow up again. Another apocalypse. Remember, the time pad was set to all apocalypses, and so they get this thing. And then here is a point where throughout that entire episode, the visuals have been amazing. The aesthetic of it looks so dope. Again, every show has its own unique look and feel, and we definitely got that with that. But there's a fight. There's the whole planet is about to blow up. Loki realizes that the guards are going to let the people die, and they only letting select few on the ark, and they're trying to hurry them get there. And in the process, they got a battle of guards, and it's this beautiful fight, and then the ark blows up. Now, the end of the show, Dark Moon plays. There's so much, because that was basically it. It's basically really us getting, this episode is really us getting to know Sylvie, the Lady Loki, and again, seeing who she is, who Loki is. Remember in episode 1, we start to find out why Loki does what he does. So now we're trying to find out why Sylvie does what she does. You find out that her plan had been 10 years in the making, and that she feels like Loki blew all that up. So, her thing isn't what Loki thinks it is. All these different things we're learning, we're starting to unpack. And again, I think this is 6 episodes. So, here's the thing with this. We keep saying the potential for either the West Coast or the Young Avengers coming forth, because we know we have Kate Bishop and Hawkeye. We got the twins Speed and Wiccan out of WandaVision. We know we saw Elijah Bradley in Falcon and Winter Soldier. All of those have been a part of the Young Avengers, and at one point in the comics, Sylvie has tried to join that group. I don't know if we're going to play that. I don't know if Sofia Donato is going to be going further than Loki. We don't know yet. Again, I have said from the first couple episodes, this feels like a giant setup to Kang, because we're talking about time, right? And the timekeepers, excuse me. I think that what was her name? I wrote it down. Rev Slayer, Google Mbatha Raw's character. I think she plays a bigger role than what we're being given. And I think in episode 4, we're going to find out more who she is. We didn't have any Mobius or any B-15 in this. And so that was kind of interesting. But I think now it's like, this show is going, again, everything has a different, unique purpose. I've always said that. People will compare and put their orders of favorites, whatever. But again, this one is to set up, just like WandaVision did, to set up this new phase in the MCU that is all cosmic, quantum, magical. And again, we're talking a lot of magic in this episode with Loki and Sylvie. A lot of, Loki trying to understand what exactly enchantment is, finding out enchantment is learning to control the mind and, playing, with the memories. Another big part, which I forgot to include, we find out that the reason that Sylvie was able to do what she did with C-20 is because C-20 was originally from Earth. And it caught Loki, because Loki was like, wait, they said that everybody that works for the TVA came from the timekeepers. And Sylvie tells him, no, they're all variants and don't know it. Like, they're from Earth, which is wild. Because again, I think within 3 episodes, we're going to unpack on the fact they're variants. Who knows the truth, which I think, again, it's the Rev Slayer. I think she knows exactly everything about everybody. what the bigger deal is. And again, does the Enchantress become a bigger thing? Are the timekeepers themselves, are the timekeepers the all powerful themselves, or are they under Kang, under the control of Kang? There's going to be so much that plays around with this. I like the fact that there was one point when they were on the moon, they were trying to figure out how to get away, and they were trying to repower the Tempad, and they went to this lady's crib, and you had Sylvie knock on the door, and the lady just blasted the shit out of her. Then Loki happened to see a picture of her husband, changed himself to her husband, was trying to be all sweet, and she blasted his ass and was like, yo, he ain't said shit nice to me in 30 years. Like, I appreciate what Tom Hiddleston has found and brought into Loki now. Like, there's a whole new level of the character. We started seeing this, of course, in Thor Ragnarok. There's a new love and a resurgence for it. There's I get to play around and do this how I want to do it now. And we're getting that. And the chemistry we're starting to get with him and Sylvie, you see more that she's not like you said, she's a Loki, but she's not a Loki. If you go the comic route, that's the Enchantress. So I think we're going to see how that plays out. Again, the Enchantress is a big part of the Thor Asgardian lore and things like that. I don't know how that plays going forward into Thor Love and Thunder, because that's a thing as well. We talk about the Timekeepers and Kang and Ant-Man Quantumania, and then Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness, when you talk about magical. But again, Thor Love and Thunder is still a thing. So where all these things tie in and the connectivity is something. Again, this is so unique because you don't know what to expect, and anytime you call yourself expecting something, it changes completely. We all saw her at the end of episode 2, Sylvie, and we're like, that's Lady Loki, right? And then she says, my name is Sylvie. And you're like, And the comic book heads were like, Sylvie Lustin? The Enchantress? And so you're getting all these different things. And so it plays on so many different levels. And I want to know what you are thinking about that right now in the comments below, all right? So go ahead, if you're watching this video, please like it, subscribe, click on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, man. So stay tuned when I'm dropping more videos. Let's have a civil discourse as always. Y'all know how I always am. We're going to talk about it. If you don't like it, why don't you like it? Let's not just say, I ain't like it, and leave it be. Have a conversation in the chat below, all right? I watch that shit, and I interact with the shit, too. So I want y'all to be cool. Let's keep it a buck. All right? Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington, MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. The Mad Titan Podcast, where I get you caught up on all the things happening in the Marvel and DC live-action cinematic universes. His Barbershop Talk for Nerds. Come on in that combo. It's dropping later this week. I've been hella busy. Blurs in the Hood every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. on the East Coast, youtube.com/Blurs in the Hood. Me and my co-host, Mr. Winston A. Marshall, and the new show we have on the network, Talk Blurty to Me, that happens every Sunday, 2 p.m. Pacific, hosted by TK Trinidad and Drew Jones. All right? We'll holler at y'all next week for episode 4. Take care. I'm out. Bye.